I do see though, yeah, I do see though a lot of people thinking, I don't know what to do on marketing or sales or, or I got to hire someone with a lot with more experience because I don't know. And I think people can be a lot more resourceful. I think each of myself in terms of getting, really taking Reg Online to the next level, I did it all. I mean, I did the SEO and the pay per click, and I managed the sales team, and built a support team that I had never built before, and those sorts of things. And I could see how if there was $1 million in the bank, I'd hire other people to do all those things instead of me doing it and trying to figure out how to do it on my own. Um, so I can definitely see that pull, but at the same time, my theory on sort of business building has always been figure out how to do it myself through finding people who've done it and asking them how they've done it through reading lots of books and that sort of thing, and build the base model where I go, okay, this is how we can build our build out our customer service, or this is how we can do our sales, and then hand over sort of the best practices to my team members. That's why a lot of times I consider these days I consider myself more of a business architect than a entrepreneur, in that I'm helping to sort of architect better structures for the companies to grow on. And so I really find that the inclination to outsource that, especially early on, is way premature. And a lot of people, and the other sort of hurdle on that is you can find people who've got great pedigrees in particular categories and have worked for bigger companies doing things, but it's entirely different than trying to build something from scratch in a startup. And so a lot of money gets wasted on bringing in people who are in larger companies that already had these platforms in place, and thinking that they would be able to translate into building them from scratch, and
And they
doesn't
can't do it.
they can't
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
And so there's a waste of money there, and it's very rare to be able to find the person who they say, yep, I built this from scratch several times for other companies, if you're going to hire them from the outside. But if you're smart and scrappy and can scramble and find the best practices on your own, that has been a much more efficient way for us to build very profitable companies.
so you mentioned Techstars. I'm intrigued by the accelerator phenomenon that's happening all over the world now, and Techstars arguably is among the best of those organizations anywhere. And most of them pitch themselves as sort of a pathway to a Series A round of capital. Join our, accelerator, and you'll come out of this experience raising some money from somebody else. Why don't they focus on building customer-funded business instead?
I think um, I think they are giving more. I think they are giving more and more credit and encouragement. I know in Techstars Boulder, they really do when they can, to companies where it's like, um, to finding paying customers first. They know that because at the same time they know that they'll get better valuations or get funding at all if they really have paying customers already. So there definitely is much more encouragement in that. I think I think the accelerators though, look at the odds and go, they probably have better odds of getting off the ground or getting funding or getting bought before they even really have real revenues. If there's a credibility built into the funding path. So I think from a strategy standpoint, if they were to say, if someone was to try to, and I had the idea, of starting something called like BootStars as a sort of a spin-off of TechStars, where it's just about it's entirely focused on how to build a SaaS company from scratch, or a tech company from scratch, just through customer funding. And I think it's an interesting premise to have, but I think that, their model is really about at, at, at from a 30,000 foot view, what they're doing is trying to create deal flow for funding. It is really what's going on, and the benefit to entrepreneurs is they're given a path that they can surround themselves with lots of mentors, um, and probably get it off the ground in a way they wouldn't have if they were just sitting in their basement trying to move it on their own. And so I think it's probably worth the trade off because I guess a certain percentage of the maybe half of the people coming into the programs probably wouldn't have done anything at all if it hadn't been for an accelerator program that really sort of supported them in taking the next steps.
Yeah.
So, and I've had several customer funded companies that I've gotten involved with come out of Techstars that I've subsequently gotten involved with, that they had no outside capital. And some of it was out of necessity because they couldn't raise money, so they had to go find customers to get revenue, and others by choice. But I think Techstars is, at least here in Boulder, they are supportive of the idea of if you can fund it, customer funded on your own, great. But they see probably 9 out of 10 are
Are going the
they're,
other way.
they're going the other way, and yeah. So all I do when I go in as a mentor, and I've some years struggled with, how am I involved with this when I believe so much in customer funded businesses. But I go in and I say, rather than give me your pitch as an investor, give me your pitch as if I'm a customer, right? Like that's what's going to make this business successful, is your customer pitch versus your investor pitch.
Yeah. So you do a talk often to the Techstar founders about customer funding, but for that same batch of founders, there'll be an angel or a VC giving them a talk about how you raise capital in the early stages. So those your message and their message are in some sense conflicting. How do the founders react to those perhaps conflicting messages?